Good morning, everybody. Good morning. See, my screen is a little off here as far as filling this in. We'll get this fixed for tomorrow. All right. So, might today be the turn day? Turn day meaning stall in this upward move. I think it's gone far enough. Looking at the futures here, and one of the things I'm taking notice of, and it's kind of counterintuitive, but see how this bar has like this tiniest little wick as if it's like non-existent, meaning the buying, and you saw it yesterday if you were watching, the buying just, I don't know if that's the end of the day there, but the buying went right into the close, meaning there was like no backing off whatsoever. It was like a surge, and we had gotten into the S&Ps late in the day, not that late in the day. And we took the trade back here on a little failure bar. You can see. We were watching right here, and I said, let's see if this sell setup fails. And it popped back up again, and then we got the bottoming tail bar, the little shakeout, and then we got long. And they just kept buying it right into the close. So when I see something moving up as this has, and on the way, you can see tail, 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 little tail, like no tail on the top. That's usually, what we call a tell, right? You're close to a reversal day. Now, reversal days do not mean trend change. This thing would have to come all the way down here to change the trend. However, part of our method or understanding, analysis is a lot of it's based on common sense. And the further it pulls back toward the prior pivot low, the more in danger the trend is. Depth of retracement and in strong trends, I mean, this should theoretically, if it's going to pull back, what we call minor support, which is a subjective reference point, um, because it's beyond what's directly to the left. However, we scroll back here and see, is it really lined up with something? This was kind of an aha moment for me many years ago, and especially from the point of view of educating people, especially intraday traders, as to what really happens intraday, because everybody's like, oh, what was resistance becomes support. Yeah, kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. But what happens is the reaction on the way up to that, which you cannot see inside the condensed time frame, is what intraday traders are focused on. This kind of comes into play, those from this time frame, but this is what, if this pulls back, what we'll be focused on here is this pivot low, this here in this area. Would that be a pullback to a point of the breakout? Yeah, that's Mark. That's in essence what minor support is, right? This was a breakout. It's not the type of breakout that we trade, meaning that's not an entry point unless it had a correction bar here. Something that goes from, support, the bottom of the range, and blast through the top of the range. Theoretically, you could say, yes, it's a breakout. It's taking out the high. But is it a breakout that we want to trade? Now, we want to see some type of consolidation, absorbing of that supply there, and then a continuation move. A lot of times that's what failed breakouts, how they set up. Tony's asking on the ES daily chart, the minor support no longer relevant as it went down back and forth through it. Well, yes, that's a good point, Tony. So Tony's saying from the MTS course that, well, this traded through it and it went down back and forth. Yes. All right. Now, that being said, Tony, that's from Master Trader MTS strategies and the education of the concept. So, in this case, recognizing this as what was resistance becomes support, this is really the support that's going to happen in intraday. So, anyway, here we're starting to get a turn. This is our major support area, the low prior to the higher high on this intraday time frame. And so a break below that violates the trend here. However, you got the next reference point of support isn't that far away. So it isn't going to, this isn't a scenario where we're expecting any kind of a collapse. Just doesn't set up that way. Collapse happens after a building of a reference area, going sideways here for a few days. It could entail a shock pattern where during this sideways move, let's just educational purposes, this bar closes, down deeply into that daily bar. All right. So here everybody's looking at that green, 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 red. Oh, that should go down. Well, it starts going down. It pops back up. It takes out the high and comes right back in again. That's a death sentence. Put a, there's an expression, put a fork in it, it's done. All right. So that kind of a pattern is a super high probability pattern that, it's turning. There's a shock element to it. There's a breakout failure. It's going lower. And by doing that, of course, you're talking about a couple of days, right? This day has several hours to go and the next day, several hours. This intraday pattern grows to the right and gets further away from these reference points. And maybe this one would even be broken. So, the theme, as I titled it on YouTube, reversal days or turn days can be the hardest to trade. Why? Because it's not evident of a turn just yet. And bulls aren't going to just throw in the towel immediately, especially at new all-time highs. So it tends to have this backing and filling and jiggling around. And, the information offering, what you take with that is, unless something of significance really happens, keep your expectations in alignment with what's probably going to happen here today. And don't get chopped up. So let's take a look at the other markets. See what the differences are, if any. Little difference, up day, this had a stronger correction bar. But you see, this one is the kind of setup that we'd want to trade as a breakout. And this is all, let's just say how I want to explain it, how we look at it. But, breakouts, we usually look at something with a more defined base, meaning more bars. Okay. Where this one, my terminology, right, MTS terminology, this would be a continuation pattern and a correction bar. Right? The depth of retracement was strong. Here's the red day. It trades under it and pops back up. So that is what we really want to see, is that takes out the low and reverses. So a confirmation of the prior strength, if you will. So now momentum is slowing, and see what today brings. You can see the support, so on and so forth, and weakness here. Can you guide me a little today? I suck at these range days. Always hit my stop. Well, we all suck at range days, Mark. You want to be somebody special? I'm kind of kidding, but that's the whole problem with range days. And what I'm explaining here is that, look, when you've got support points that are nearby and resistance points that are nearby, that chart is telling you that there is no void, and the probability of a meaningful move until we have an event is pretty small. Now, as we go down to smaller time frames, like you can see here on the 15-minute, well, the next reference point of support is here. All right. Now, if you got in here or on the initial break and you're saying, well, I'm just going to target this area down here, you're putting your perspective in alignment with what's on the chart. Whereas maybe your view is, I'm looking at the chart and man, I'd love to get 100 points out of this thing today. Well, the chart says you're not going to get it. So get your head in alignment with what is. Now, if we had the scenario of chopping around and the failure bar, the shock and all of that kind of stuff, well, yeah, now you have a setup that supports that kind of thinking. So, The probability and odds of us getting chopped up is when our bias and what we want is not in alignment with what is. Now, sometimes when you get slapped in the face and says, hey, it ain't happening here today. Back off, reevaluate. So in MTS, we have something that's called a 3-bar rule. And the 3-bar rule is really something that says, hey, Greg, what you thought was going to happen, it ain't happening right now. Now, was your analysis off? Or was it something like the trade yesterday in the ES that we had? That trade setup, and I said this in the room, this thing is turning higher. And it did until the end of the day. I said, but this kind of setup is one in which it tends to turn until more traders see what we saw, that this had a probability of going up. And when they did, they all started jumping on board. So the 3-bar rule at that time was like, this is okay, it's normal. Whereas another time, hey, you're shorting here, you're thinking it's going to crater and reevaluate 3-bar rule. Probably not going to happen. It all starts making sense. It just takes a little time. Right? All right. So same situation here. YM takes out the highs. It's stalling. So we'll just kind of throw that up here for now. And we'll see. Same thing here. How far does it pull back today? Or the lack thereof. The Russell, that thing was just hanging out yesterday, right? As the S&Ps were going up, that thing was, it's not going to participate. And all of a sudden, it just kicked it in and took off. And so now when we look at this, right, here's a nasty reversal bar. This was on the GME thing that, I don't know, like BS correction, whatever was going on. And then the brokerage firms did what they did. But anyway, potent reversal bar, wide bar. Now we've got a wide bar, right? After multiple days up. So it starts off slow. Okay, that's normal price action with a pattern like this. Maybe it could pull back and make a W. It didn't. Higher, wide range bar after multiple bars up. Odds are the momentum's going to stall. So different pattern, but same message from the other ones. We may have a boring day. I don't know. We'll see. All right, bonds stabilizing. Right, markets turned down a little bit. Normal inverse relationship hasn't gotten down to this targeted area yet. Oil is down a little bit. Right, reversal day. Okay. It's coming in, coming to support. This one's at an area of significant resistance. And to Tony's question, trading above and below, right? Did not trade above yet. So it's the first time it's visiting this. However, now what would be most significant related to that question, Tony, neutralizing, would have been if this turn would have traded above and then back down again, whereas it just made a lower high and collapsed. But so this is retesting this, and it's significant, but it's happening months later. So it's likely to trade above it, but it's at 60. We spoke about that. But as this eventually gets above, let's just say it does, basically forget about this. It's done. It's been used up as a reference point. All right. So turn day, it's not done. We got all day to see if this is going to turn. He's saying, for as many times as I have heard you say it was a crazy day, maybe boring is good. Well, boring can be good if it's lined with our expectations, but none of us really enjoy too much sitting in a chair for 8 hours. I hear what you're saying, but yeah, this market's been a big wacko, especially that GME correction thing, and then the V bottom and turn back up again. It was kind of crazy for sure. Months of transfer supply less significant as resistance. I think this is significant as a resistance, Tony, because it is months away, but it's made such a run, over this time, and it's just a glaring reference point. Now, the other concept is depth of retracement. And so it was all the way down here and it retraced all the way back up. So we have to respect the depth of retracement. Now, what does it do here? Right? That's the unknown. Now, if it goes sideways here for several weeks, that would be bullish. If this turn day all of a sudden turns into a collapse where it's, careening down through the 50 MA, well, that's not going to be good. We don't know what's going to happen. We can only apply what we know, meaning, okay, here's minor support. I know it's subjective, but, there's nothing on the way up here. So all of the concepts that we teach has to be applied, right, systematically. Gold, right, retracing back up to the 50 and the 200. Still trying to make this bottom here. Silver has been doing better. I like that. That's a much better pattern, even for a short-term swinger intraday. So when I look at this and I then look at the 5 minute, I'm like, I'm not trading that intraday, not yet. It's too whippy. It's got to settle down. There's certainly an art to multiple time frame analysis. Lastly, the transports. Good morning, Deb. Retracing. Use the noise, guys. And I'll go back and look at silver. Well, it's in a nice uptrend, right? Nice uptrend, Steve. So now, this obviously is this, putting in the context of, obviously the big nasty down bar, it's a void, possibly get through it. You can see that's the void. So there's nothing there to the left. So as we do that, and I see the momentum is slowing down on this hourly chart. See the highs, they're getting closer together. Here's the pullback. I want to see this 5 minute, right? This and this tell me think long. This tells me not yet. Yeah. The transports up at resistance here, and possible turn day today. Don't get chopped up. We'll see what day brings. All right. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. So Bitcoin still rocking again today. Our marijuana stock's rocking. Tesla. Tesla here. Wow. Not Tesla, my bad. Tilray. We got called out here, $22 last Friday. Look at this, leaving some money on the table here. I read that they have a deal with a distribution over in the UK. So that's making the whole sector perk here again, but we're very heavily long in it. So we are participating in these beautiful gains. We're also, no, we're not long block. We're long, but blocks gapping up here. We're long beat. What is it? Bit W. We're long this in the ETF trader. So everything's fine. We got a ton of opens. Sandal. Yeah, I typed already. I typed already on a little pullback, yeah. Because I like the monthly. It's another little marijuana bottoming. So sure. Oh, nice, Joe. Yeah, Tilray was, yeah, we made I forget, I got to look it up, 335% return, even though we're capping the gains now. But like I said, we got six other trades in the marijuana patch. And because of these gaps, let's check the alerts. I said let's leg into a couple covered calls on the gap up. Kern was one. Let me give it to you here. Emmanuel. This one I just posted, STPK. Beautiful, the reverse head and shoulders, left shoulder, right shoulder, head. Range expansion breakout yesterday right into the close. That looks like a great long on a pullback. ET. Yeah, I mean, we just can't get too crazy long here if you know, we think the market's going to make a turn, but there are still a lot of bullish patterns. ET, remember that used to be E-Trade? ET. Wow, that was a nice one yesterday. Net. That would have been a nice breakout yesterday. The video rock yesterday. I need to pull back. TTWO. TTWO's earnings, so it's gapping down though. I don't know if you noticed that. Otherwise, it did have a beautiful close. Yes. Yeah, OBLG's on my long list. Jake mentioned it yesterday, and I said it looks great. I mean, that's not extended at all. That's starting smooth. IT. I see one print up here. This would be a gap and crap day trade. IT. I'm going to put that in a window. I have Insight here there's a couple of these that had earnings and that are gapping up from the turn, a nice turn that we can either do day trades if they set up or put spreads. So this is one. Insight looks fantastic for a put spread if it holds. Echo Alpha. See, it was up higher. See, it was up 144. Now it's kind of flat, so maybe 30-minute high. They are buying glue. They're buying glue because they want to, I think, date Kim Kardashian, something like that. All right, y'all are going too fast for me. And finally, Hain, another one here, gapping up from the turn. This will be a beautiful put spread. So, Todd, we sold a put spread in FTFT yesterday? I'm assuming you're asking for a directional. Yeah, possibly if it's, put it in a 5-minute window, see how it sets up. No, we didn't do it. I keep mixing up. I keep mixing up these letters. FTFT. We did not do a put spread, but yeah, if it sets up, I like it. We did BTBT. So you see why I got confused. We sold a nice out of the money put spread on this yesterday. Snap. Snap, we sold naked puts yesterday. So that looks good. We got a beautiful entry too on the intraday pullback. Sam, Bill. I don't like 1, 2, 3s that are far from the 20, so I'm not crazy about that one. This one is much better. And I posted this one in our Telegram group. I do like that. And the only thing I don't like is it's a pharmaceutical company, but I gave them the disclaimer. But yes, this is from consolidation. Same with Zoom. We're already in a put spread, but I think we need to do some more put spreads over the high there. Chug, gapping up. I'd rather a pullback. Hubs, there's no pattern. It's up 10 bars, topping tail, and I can't tell where it's gapping, so I got zero interest in that one. Yeah, no, Zoom is directional also, but the premiums are so high that you can either do a covered call or just do another put spread, and you can be more aggressive on the short strike selection. All right. Tiger and Cron for Diego. Day trade at best. If it sets up here, it's bullish pre-market. But folks, there's absolutely no pattern to go, this thing's climactic. Remember, actually in MT Live last week, I had a slide of what do signs of extended mean? And we went through like 7 or 8 traits. How many up bars, distance from the 20 getting far from the 50, far from the 200, the bigger time frames, climactic sell setup. Yeah, so I have zero interest in a swing trade on that. Cron, we're longness, we're long cron as a core. Looks great, looks great. So I mean, the only caveat is, we nailed the entries in these things when they're coming out of consolidation. So if MJ is also getting far from the 20, 50, 200, that's the mothership. It's starting to get far from. I mean, they're getting crazy. So yes, Cron looks higher, but it's not the ideal spot. Thomas, Nike, and Katos. Nike, there's no pattern. It's a sell setup at resistance. I don't know if you're talking long or short, but it's a bullish weekly, bullish retracement. I don't know what to do with that. Yeah, frothy, that's the word, exactly right. And that's why I'm suggesting selling calls into these gaps. So Hexo, we have as a core. And look at the monthly. These things look great. I mean, I give us an A+ for trading the marijuana sector. So Hexo, yeah, I said let's sell the $10 call because I think that's the one that has earnings tomorrow. So we're getting very nice juice. Yeah, we can get 55 cents. 55 cents for Hexo. And that's $1 away. Okay, we have so many pot stocks open, I'm getting confused. We already are short the $10 calls. So it must be Kern. Kern, yeah, earnings is tomorrow in Kern. Right. So this one I said, let's sell the $10 calls. Let's sell them for 55 right now. And that's partially how we got such an amazing cost basis on Tilray was we kept legging in the covered calls all the time. I'm lowering our cost basis. So our cost base, look at that. Cost basis now is 565 in Hexo. Hey, Joe. And we sold half yesterday because of earnings coming up. All right. What do y'all got for me? All right. Insight is not holding yet. This was a put spread idea. EA was a put spread idea.